Hi friends, welcome to the lecture series of ethical hacking. Today, in this topic, we'll be mainly talking about the footprint and moreover scanning. So, footprinting is nothing but the gathering the information about what? What type of information will be gathered? The system information, the port information, and moreover the application, that is nothing but the operating system and any sort of things. These are the three things we'll be mainly concerned about to properly get the information. First of all, going with the footprinting and moreover scanning, we'll be traditionally following the 7 steps for the information gathering process. Footprinting is nothing but the information gathering, as I said right now. The first of all, what we'll be going to do is nothing but identify the target organization. So, we will be identifying the target organization, okay, concerned to the domain names, IP addresses, okay, and moreover their own business profile. Everything will be properly identified. And then what I'll be going to do, I'll be using the OSINT, open source intelligence, to gather the public information about the targets. The post that has been done in the social media and everywhere. We'll be checking about those public information. Next, identify the network range and more the active systems. What is the range of the network that has been used by the organization? What are the different type of active terminals? What are the inactive terminals? We should be least bothered about the inactive terminals. We should be always attentive with the active terminals. What are the different type of active systems that has been available in the network? And then we'll be checking about the discovering the open ports and more of the services by using different type of active scanning mechanisms. Where these particular ports only, the hackers illegally enter into a system resource. And then we have to properly identify the operating system and more of the applications, technologies, what we are going to use. Those particular fingerprint has to be identified. Next, we will be enumerating the user and moreover the resources. We will be gathering the information about user accounts, the groups, and moreover the details, shared resources, everything will be analyzed, will be collected. And finally, we are going to make the required analysis and document. First of all, we are identifying the target organization, from where we have to collect the total information, from where we have to make the required footprinting. Next, not only from that organization, okay, we will be getting information from the different type of open source intelligence tools that has been available to check the public information which has been posted in the social media environments. Then what I'll be going to do, I'll be going to identify the network range. What are the different type of active terminals that has been involved at that particular instant of time. Next, discovering about the open ports via which there is a chance for the hacker to enter into the network or else into the system resources. It will be identifying the operating system. What is the operating system that has been used by them? Why? Because in the olden days, in the old operating systems like Longhorn, also different type of things, traditionally we know what are the different type of loopholes that has been there. Okay, first of all, we'll be checking about those things also. We have to check about the operating system. What are the vulnerabilities? What are the loopholes? What are the trapdoors that has been there in that particular operating system? Next, we will be making the enumerate the required users and more of the resources. They will be getting the information about the users, accounts, implement IDs, implement database, any sort of things, and the group details, and what are the different type of shared resources that has been used by them. And after collecting all the information, finally we are going to analyze and make the required documentation. Here you can see the common OSINT sources, that is nothing but the open source intelligence tools that has been available. We can collect the information from different type of websites. Not only them, we can collect from the social media, open source, search engines, in the news websites, anywhere we'll be getting the information. And the information that has been collected, how we are going to have a workflow. What I'll be going to do, first of all, I will be defining the required targets, and that particular target, via using the open source intelligence tools, I will be gathering the total information, and I will be checking about the network ports. What is the range of the active and moreover inactive terminals? Checking about the ports that has been vulnerable, and the operating system that has been used to check what are the regular vulnerabilities that has been available. And finally, we'll be getting the user information, and these things will be properly analyzed. It's a simple workflow about the footprinting and moreover scanning. We'll be simply following the 7 different type of steps here. And you can see here different type of phases. At every phase, what are the different type of tools that has been used and why we are going to use here. Next, going to the host discovery. Host, any terminal that has been connected to the network will be simply called as a node or also host, any sort of things. What is a basic thing why we are going with the host discovery? It's a basic crucial step in my network, and also in the case of penetrating testing also, it is nothing but the pen testing. We have to identify the host properly. In my network, we will be having multiple hosts. Which particular hosts are vulnerable? Those particular things has to be first of all identified. Those particular network ranges has to be properly identified. And then what I'll be going to do, whether they are active or inactive, what I'll be going to do, I'll be simply making the required ping sweep by using the ICMP. ICMP, that is nothing but the Internet Control Message Protocol. Okay, what I'll be going to do, I'll be making a ping to that particular system with an IP address. Ping is nothing but a packet information grouper. Okay, I'll be simply sending a echo request. If I am getting the required reply within a stipulated interval of time, within the maximum transmission delay, that is nothing but the access latency, automatically I'll be thinking that particular system is active. Next, going with the ARP scanning for the local networks especially. ARP stands for the Address Resolution Protocol. Okay, what will this particular ARP will be simply doing? If the IP address is known, to check the required Ethernet address or else a MAC address, we'll be relying on the ARP. Similar to that thing, we do have the RARP also, Reverse Address Resolution Protocol. If I know the MAC address, it will be going to identify the IP address. So here also I'll be simply making use of the ICMP protocol, okay, to send multiple requests. It may be echo request, echo reply, congestion, everything. Okay, we do have a different type of message formats in the case of ICMP. Next, we'll be having the TCP and moreover UDP probing. Okay, TCP, that is nothing but the transmission control protocol. UDP is a user datagram protocol, which will be used in the case of connection oriented and connectionless. If ICMP has been disabled, then I will be using the TCP sync or else a UDP packet for a specific port, okay, to identify whether they are active or inactive. We can use these TCP and more UDP probing also. Probe, small request and reply. And finally, we will be making the required analysis and more documentation. So host discovery, in this particular process, we will be simply discovering the host which has been active. And we have to always be attentive on that particular active terminals only. The systems which are inactive, we'll be very much least bothered. We will not be having any sort of issue with that particular inactive terminals. The first strategy is nothing but the crucial step. We have to properly identify the hosts. Okay, for that thing, we'll be sending multiple requests. It may be using the ICMP protocol, it may be using the ARP, it may be using the TCP, UDP, any sort of things. Pumping the request, we'll be getting the reply. If I am getting the reply with a maximum transmission delay, we will be thinking that the systems are inactive, and thereby identifying the live hosts. Next, coming to the open ports and more of the access points. Open ports generally we use in the case of wired networks. In the case of wireless networks, we will be using the access points, Wi-Fi access points in your language, remote access points. So in the case of finding the open ports, first of all, we have to understand the ports and moreover its own services. Every port will be having its own services. Okay, they are the logical communication endpoints, especially the ports. They are mainly used to provide the required services like email services, web services, file transfer, FTP services, different type of services. Those particular ports should be properly understood. And then we are going to scan that particular ports. Ethical hacker, what he will be doing, he will be controlling the entire ports by scanning them and checks is there any vulnerabilities of that particular ports, is there any open ports, is there a chance for the hacker to use those particular ports to enter into the network or else the system. Those particular scanning has to be properly done. Traditionally, we will be using the TCP sync. That is nothing but the transmission control protocol synchronization scan. Okay, it is a stealth. Okay, hidden scan that will be happened. Okay, it will be simply checking the ports who are vulnerable and everything. Next, going to the service identification. Okay, after the finding the open ports, okay, what the ethical hacker, what he will be doing, he will be the tester. He will be simply identifying the services and moreover their own versions, which has been presently working or running on every individual port. So a service identification has to be properly done. From that thing also, there is a chance the hacker, if I am using the old versions, if I am using some sort of insensitive ports, that particular ports also, there is a chance for the hacker to enter into my network. And next it comes to the wireless networks, especially. In the case of wireless networks, we will be mainly talking about the Wi-Fi access points. Okay, in our college also, we can see different type of access points. Okay, in your home also, you'll be having Wi-Fi routers. That is nothing but the access points. Okay, from there, the network distribution will be happening. Okay, from there, any communication will be happened into the outside world. Suppose your mobile is accessing the Wi-Fi via the access point. It will be nothing but the internet service provider there. Okay, it will be providing the total internet access from me. So, in the case of wireless networks, we have to properly identify the Wi-Fi access points. And what is a VPNs? VPN is nothing but the virtual private networks. What is the gateway that has been used? We will be using the interior gateway, internal gateways, external gateways, border gateways, different type of things. Okay, gateways will also work similar to that of the routers. The simple difference is nothing but router will be used in order to transmit the required data in between the networks which are using the common protocols. Suppose when we are using different protocols in multiple networks and the transmission of data has to be done, there we are using the gateways. We do have the application gateway, we do have the transport gateway, different type of gateways are available. So they will be providing the required services for me. So those particular things has to be properly analyzed. And finally, we will be making the required risk analysis. From analyzing all these particular open ports and more access points in the case of wireless networks, we will be simply analyzing where we have a chance of having the attack. The risk analysis has to be happened. All open ports has to be properly cross-checked. And that thing should be documented. Here you can see the scanner or else the attacker or else tester, what he will be doing. Okay, he will be mainly targeting the first of all the network, and then they will be pumping the probing messages by using the UDP sync or else TCP sync or else echo request, echo reply, different type of things, and thereby identifying the open ports and more other services that has been involved. Every port will be having their own individual functionality and more other services. Here you can see in the below also the port 21, port 22, 23, okay, port 80, different type of ports. Okay, which particular protocol is using which particular protocol? Most of the, you can see that from port 21 to port 3389, we will be using the TCP. But in the case of for the UDP, especially, we will be going to use the 53 and moreover 161 ports. And every port will be having their own services. The first here you can see the FTP, that is nothing but the file transfer protocol. Suppose if I want to transfer the required file within the network, there you can go with the port 21 by using the TCP. SSH, Secure Socket Layer. Okay, na? So here they will be using the SSH. There, or else we can go with the telnet. Okay, remote access we can implement by using the telnet. We do have the TeamViewer. Okay, suppose even more, I will be sitting at this particular location. If I want to access the system resources of your own friends, what I will be doing? I will be using some sort of, it's not the Dreamweaver, it is a TeamViewer. TeamViewer, T. Okay, by using that particular application, I can access the required telnet services. Remote logins can be happened. Suppose if I want to have the required web access, okay, there I can go with the HTTP to provide the required secure applications. There I can go with the HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol with security. Or else we can go with the RDP, okay, domain name services. Or else we can go with the SNMP also, Simple Network Management Protocol. This simple network management protocol will plays a vital role, especially in the case of port scanning. Let me go with in detail about this particular SNMP. SNMP will be going with a different type of versions, version 1, version 2, version 3, and we do have different type of SNMPs also. As the name implies, simple network management protocol, it is going to manage the entire network, whether that particular device, host, node has been properly connected to the network or not. We do have the network agent and more of the network devices. Network agents are also routers. They will be simply cross-checking whether all the systems in my network has been properly connected by regularly checking the required ping, echo request, echo reply. So SNMP version 1, 2, 3, nowadays we are using, not only nowadays, last 15 years onwards, we are using SNMP version 3, which providing a high security to manage the entire network. It will be working with the simple principle of OSNMP. Okay, so these are the different type of protocols, services, and more ports what we are going to scan. Next, coming to the OS, that is nothing but the operating system. In this particular operating system, why? Because every system they will be having different type of operating system. Mac OS, regular OS like Windows, or else we can go with the any Linux versions like Ubuntu, or else Red Hat, any sort of things. We have to check about this particular OS printing also has to be done. So in the case of OS, why? Because traditionally some OS, especially in Windows applications, okay, when in some last 4 to 5 versions of the operating systems, we had a comparison that Windows operating system is less secured than the Linux operating system. That's why only people are very much tend of going with the Linux. Apart from the open source, it is much more secured. People is having some sort of habituate. But nowadays, the present versions of the OS from the Windows are providing the same security, high security, whether it is a server versions or the client versions, any sort of things. The main purpose of going with the OS footprinting is nothing but it will be simply determining the operating system, what we are going to use, what has been used, and checking that particular active operating system is already vulnerable with some sort of attacks or not. Whenever if any attack has been happened, okay, now first of all we will be checking with the traditional attacks that is going to happen regularly on that particular operating system, and then it will be going with the passive OS footprinting. Okay, it will be simply involving the monitoring the network traffic, okay, without any sort of direct intervention. That's why we are calling it as a passive. And we'll be making analysis of the TCP/IP, that is nothing but the transmission control protocol with IP, internet protocol stack analysis will be happen. And finally, I will be going with the security implications. So OS is also placing a vital role. If OS is providing step-by-step security at everywhere, we can automatically say it is a high secured. So what these hackers, what they will be doing is nothing but, first of all, the hacker, they will be sending some sort of unwanted probes or else unwanted packets, unwanted mails, for example, targeting the system. Okay, once there's unknowingly or knowingly, if that particular packet has been triggered, automatically it will be simply affecting the system resource. So we have to properly analyze by using the TTL, window size, TCP flags, and everything. TTL is nothing but the time to live, or else a time of life. Okay, every packet will be having some sort of time of life. Okay, here OS is also placing a vital role on every individual packet's life. What is the need for going with the time to live or else a time of life is nothing but, suppose if I am pumping one particular packet into my network, okay, that particular packet will be reaching to the destination via any path that has been available. But after delivering to the destination terminal, there is no need to have that particular same packet to be active in my network, so that it will be unnecessarily occupying the bandwidth. So to avoid that particular situations, what I'll be doing, I will be simply keeping some sort of time to live or else a time of life. It is a maximum transmission delay between the source and moreover destination. That is nothing but access latency. Once this access latency has been elapsed, automatically there is no need to have that particular packet live in my network. It will be automatically discarded. That is the purpose of using the time to live. So here you can see different type of common tools and moreover techniques with the different type of descriptions. The first of all, we will be having the active scanning. Okay, it is mainly to probe and moreover analyze the required responses. Here we will be using the Nmap. Nmap is one of the best tool that will be used in the case of ethical hacking, network scanning, OS scanning and everything. Similarly, we do have different type of passive monitoring, TCP, IP stack analysis, and different type of tools that has been used. You can have a glance about these particular tools. Most of these particular tools are open source, and some may be of trial versions like 7 days or else 15 days. You can download and you can make the analyze what that particular tool is of, how it is going to help us to gather the information. That is nothing but the footprinting. So this is about the different type of best practice that has to be used. So dear friends, this is about the end of the total first unit. So in the entire first unit, we'll be mainly talking about the basic ethical hacking, the phases, types of ethical hackers, types of hackers, what is the need for going with the footprinting, concern to the host, concern to the network, concern to the operating system also. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. Next, we'll be discussing about the second unit. Thank you.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.